Good day to you. My name is John Adams.
I am Thomas Jefferson. Mr. Adams, it is good to see you again. I am not accustomed to, when I see you, well, not being able to see you.
Yes. There does seem to be something between us, as it were, yes, which I understand is most beneficial.
Are the times being what they are, the yellow fever and the smallpox running rampant, we are required by Dr. Benjamin Rush, who has studied these things, to take such precautions.
Precautions are beneficial.
There have been times in our lives, I know, that we have been more distant than this.
That is very true.
And yet we found a way to be social.
Absolutely. We found a way, despite any differences, to each do our part for the good of the country, as we saw fit.
And speaking of attempting to do good for the country, it is my understanding that we have come across in the modern era the fact that they have created a bit of a holiday around a certain branch of government in which we found ourselves situated, respectively, the presidency.
Oh, the presidency. We found ourselves in so many branches of government.
Well, we did, entangled
yes,
in them.
Suffocated in some instances. However...
But this particular one is what they're calling President's Day.
President's Day, yes. Is it a president's singular day, or is it multiple presidents' day?
You are considering apostrophical placement.
Oh, yes. Is
meaning?
there any other place to put one such thing?
I don't think it really matters.
I suppose not. Well, I suppose what is important is that people understand the responsibility, the difficulties, and the servitude of being the president.
You know, if there's no apostrophe, that means the day does not belong to one president or all the presidents. Rather, it is a day where others express their thoughts on presidents, plural.
Yes, that would be
I like that better. That means if there's no apostrophe in President's Day, then it belongs to the people, not to the government.
Yes, and if we, the people, are speaking of presidents, I will simply say that no person who has ever held the office of president would congratulate a friend on obtaining it.
I agree with you on that, Mr. Adams.
Yes, but fortunately, you and I also were able to be a part of something very important in the presidency. We were both part of transfers of power from one president to the next.
Your president, when you took the office of presidency, was the first transfer of power under the Constitution,
yes,
from one president to another.
To another, yes, with a bloodless change of power, which was unheard of in many circumstances in other countries. But, of course, by the time you and I became respectively president, it changed the presidency from one political party to another political party.
We're going to have to admit the political parties did exist.
They did exist, much to our terrible anxiety and chagrin.
You didn't like it, but there were nascent political parties.
Indeed.
And so the election of 1800, in which I was elected president,
yes,
was the first transfer of power from a president representing one party to a president representing another party. Not only that, but I do not mean to cast aspersions on you, Mr. Adams, but with respect, it was also the first time that a sitting president was ousted by the vote when he had stood for re-election. You have been criticized. Because in that first transfer of power, on my inauguration day, when you were leaving the office of president after one term in office,
yes,
and I had been elected as president, you left the capital city, Washington, D.C., and did not remain to attend my inauguration ceremony.
I did. That is very true, yes. There were many circumstances which led to that, not the least of which, of course, was still the difficulty of the loss of our son Charles earlier the previous year. And it was very unfortunate, and I was feeling that there was a desire for me to return to my home, to my farm, and I was no longer in service of my country. And thusly, I thought the most appropriate thing to do would leave you and to have you get thee to it.
I think you must admit, though, even after one has studied Newton's optics intensively, it did look bad. There was no way to look at it where it did not look a little like a bit of a snub, perhaps.
I left you horses to ride and to carry you into the election on your own. I thought that was a fine gesture, sir.
But you didn't try to stop it.
Oh, I had no interest in stopping it. It was, no. When the power of the presidency transferred from myself to your office, that was all there was to it. I certainly had no reason to contest or concern myself with it. It was simply a matter of my time had ended and yours had begun.
And yet at the time, though, there were a number of people who on various levels were attempting to interfere with the clear voice of the people.
Oh, of course.
Alexander Hamilton
yes.
sent a letter or two to John Jay attempting to put forward an idea that perhaps they could interfere with the Electoral College in some way to prevent the event from happening in advance. And then Aaron Burr.
Oh, Aaron Burr,
also
of course, yes.
engaged in chicanery with a number of the Federalists who were in the Congress to also undermine the clear voice of the American people and the constitutionally established transfer of power. This was the first time this had happened, early in our republic. I understand, Mr. Adams, this is one of the reasons I respect you so much as a friend, but also as a statesman. It never even occurred to you to try it.
No.
But if you had attempted that at that crucial moment, we had not the infrastructure, we had not the traditions, we had not the strength of a nation it could not have withstood that kind of a challenge to this experimental idea of a peaceful transfer of power, a peaceful revolution.
That was what was necessary, was the continuation, the succession of presidencies.
Yes.
And so that we might move forward as a nation rather than as devotees of an individual. We were a nation working together, and my part, small though it was simply saying, I thank you for my time and I yield the floor.
The way you left office is one of the greatest parts of your legacy.
So you are saying that one of my best attributes is my leaving?
Well, not exactly, Mr. Adams, but I can see how one might take it that way.
Are you saying that you?
It is how you left.
You are not concerned about my leaving, but you do like to see me go?
That is also not what I meant, Mr. Adams. What I'm trying to say is the point of how we established the presidency and how I hope Americans honor the presidency with this day, this President's Day, is that it is about the presidency, not about any individual president.
It is not of one, it is of the office and what it represents.
Yes.
The service to the people, for the good of all the people, for every president who would serve the good of the people.
Therefore, if anyone, be it the president himself or those who have voted for or against a given president, focus solely on how that president took office, if they do not attend carefully, how that president leaves office as well, they risk breaking that chain of succession that binds America together as one people through all of the generations.
Yes. We are not only of what we do when we begin, but also when we end.
Thus, I think we've come to a place where we return to where we were at the beginning of the conversation, this question of apostrophical vagary in the title of the day, be it President's Day with an apostrophe between the T and the S, is the apostrophe after the S, or is there no apostrophe? And I hold to my original argument based upon our discussion that there should be no apostrophe because it does not belong certainly to any individual president. It does not belong even to the presidents in general. It is a day to reflect upon the presidency itself from the vantage point of the citizens.
As with the country, it belongs to the good of the people and for their enjoyment, posterity, prosperity, and liberty. And thusly, I believe that it is most important that we wish you a very happy President's Day, as it is yours to celebrate.
With no apostrophe.
Yes. Good day.
I like my grammar. What can I say?